So again, my name is Stephen Roome. I'm currently president of First Page SEO. And so, we can get started here just talking about improving your website, helping to build traffic, making sure the website is optimized for search engines, and as well for some conversions, and checking just how you can really track the website traffic going through your website. So starting off, just to give you a bit of a background about our company. So First Page SEO, we've been in the website marketing business for over 15 years right now. It started out with my boss, Mark Coles. He actually owned a resort up in Minden, Ontario called Ogopogo Resort. And I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but so throughout the 90s he ran that. And he was actually one of the first resorts in Ontario to have a website. And when he built the website, he did his research and he found out just how to make it place at the top of search engines. And that summer that he had that, it was one of the later summers in the later 90s, probably 96, 97. He was the busiest resort in Ontario. He had everything booked up well ahead of the time, and so it was a great success for him. And the next summer, he actually had everybody coming to him, his phone ringing off the hook saying, "Hey, you guys had a great summer. Can you help us do that?" And not that they weren't having great summers on their own, but so he said, "Yeah, this is what I did, and of course I can help you do it." And that was the birth of First Page SEO. And so since then, we've actually become one of Canada's top SEO companies. We're ranked top 5 in Canada and top 20 worldwide. We have over 100 hospitality clients, many resorts in Ontario, and we also have up to 19 resort directories within Ontario that we work with, including Resorts of Ontario. So when we're talking about information technology and everything, I really want to start off with this quote. It's one I really love from Steve Ballmer, the former Microsoft CEO. So he said, "The number one benefit of information technology is that it empowers people to do what they want to do. It lets people be creative, it lets people be productive, it lets people learn things they didn't think they could learn before, so it's all about potential." So I think this is a really important one because right there he says it empowers people. So that's what search engines have done for people. When they want to find out information on something, what do people do? They go to their computer, their tablet, their phone. They're going to look it up on Google, Microsoft. I guess they're going to look it up on Bing, but not nearly as many. And so it's a great way that it's empowered people to find the information that they need and that they can do exactly what they want to do with it. In this case right here, they're going to be doing their research on bed and breakfasts in Ontario. And so if you're not being found first by them, you could be losing out on a lot of potential business. So what we're going to be covering today, what I want to start with, is delivering a good user experience on your website. Making sure that when people do find your website, it's attractive to them. It's making sure that you're going to lower your bounce rate, and that is that when they get there, they want to stay on your website. They want to read what you have. We heard it a lot before in some of the previous presentations, that content is king. You want to make sure you have good, engaging content. You have visually effective photos. It was suggested earlier that professional photos, they're very important for websites just because when people get there, you want to make sure that the website is visually stunning. You want people to be taken aback, say, "Wow, this is a beautiful place. This is where I want to stay." Going to look at a bit of analytics. I know analytics, not always the best topic. It's really hard to make it kind of seem sexy, but it's very, very important to go through and make sure that when you're getting that traffic, you're measuring it, you're seeing where it's coming from. That again was mentioned in some of the previous presentations that if you don't know where your traffic's coming from, it's hard to know where to spend your marketing dollars. And as well, we're going to go over a bit of the SEO best practices. Now, I'm going to keep saying SEO when I'm saying that. I'm referring to search engine optimization. So that is different things you can do with your website to make sure that when the search engines are reading it, they're really getting a good theme of your website, and you're going to rank higher within the search engines. So, going over here, what makes for a good user experience? What you really want to do is put yourself into the visitor's shoes. It's really easy when you think of your resort or your bed and breakfast, to think of what you want to put out there that you think is important. Now, unfortunately, though, what you feel is the most important aspect, it might not always be what they're looking for. So it's really important to make sure that your website, are you meeting their goals for the visitors? Are you making sure that they're able to see all of the rooms that are available? Do you have great photos of those rooms, prices, everything like that? You want to make sure that it's easily accessible. Again, you're meeting their goals. It was also mentioned earlier, Now, with mobile devices, this includes your smartphones, tablets. Really important to note, 50% of traffic are now coming from these mobile devices. So it's very important that with your website, you're making sure that it is responsive, so that essentially you can see that the website will morph to whatever device you're viewing it on. It's going to be easily accessible. Buttons aren't going to be too small on a smartphone and people can't push them properly. So that's a very important aspect. You want to make sure, again, that the website is visually appealing, as we mentioned before, that the photos, can't stress that enough. Visually appealing websites, you're going to have a lower bounce rate, you're going to have more engaged visitors, and that's going to lead to a lot more conversions for you. And last but not least on there, do you have a clear call to action? That means when people are on your website, they're reading a bit about you, they love your photos, they want to get in contact with you, are you making it easy for them to do that? Here's an example of just our website. There's some improvements for sure to be had, but I just wanted to set up an example. So this is what you can see on a desktop view. That's how it looks like. When you go to a mobile view, it's going to be a responsive website. So you see that everything then goes into columns. They're easily accessible to people. They can push them easily with their thumbs as they're navigating. Same thing with your menu. The menu disappears, goes to a button that they can push for pop-out. So this is what the search engines want to see and what people want to see as well when they go to your website. It's what's been deemed best practices in the industry. Now, again, what we have here, though, is a call to action. So it's right there. First thing for them to click on is they can contact us. We want to make sure that's nice and easy for them. Now, once you make sure that you have that effective website, that people are on there, they're getting through to you, your website's turning all of these traffics into conversions and leads, you want to measure the effectiveness of the site. So this is where the stats programs like Google Analytics really come into play. Now, on these analytics programs, they're going to throw tons and tons of numbers your way. And sometimes it's really hard to look through it. And what do they say? You can't see the forest through the trees on here. So it's really important to make sure that everything's in context and that you're looking at the right numbers. What we really want to see, what we stress to a lot of people when you're just getting kind of the basics, you want to make sure you know the total sessions, that's how many people are coming to your website and how many hits you're getting, the pages per session, so this is showing you that when people are on your site, how many pages are they going through. You want to make sure that it's more than one. And the average session duration, again, how much time they're spending on your site. Once they get there, are they just immediately leaving? Are they staying on your homepage and reading it for a while? Are they going through to subpages and reading those? And again, the bounce rate. A bounce rate is whenever somebody comes to your website and then leave. So it means they've gotten there, perhaps they haven't liked the look of it, they haven't been able to find what they want to, and they immediately leave without going to a second page. Now, again, what's very important, and it was stressed in some of the other presentations too, is that it's very important to know where the traffic is coming from. Now, you can always ask people when they come to you. You can say, hey, where did you hear about us? When you get the call, it's not a bad thing to ask them always. But with stats programs like Google Analytics, they'll actually tell you where these people are coming from on the website. So whether it's going to be from optimization through search, whether you're getting them through referrals, or social media, anything like that. So here's actually a bit of an example of just a standard readout. So here you can see your sessions. Now this is, it's nobody in the room. We have access to a lot of resorts in Ontario just because of what we do. We just want to let you know this isn't anybody in the room. So right here you'll see sessions. Now it's important to note that there's a difference between the sessions and the users. The users, that's an individual person who's come to your website. Sessions can be multiple users. So if that one user has come to your website twice, it's going to count as 2 sessions. And you're going to see page views as well in there, which again, right there, it's very arbitrary in that you don't know what pages they're looking at. You don't know exactly where they're going from there, but it's giving them a bit of more of an idea. And from the total amount of sessions and page views, we can get the pages per session. So that's a very important one to look at, in that you want to make sure that they're going to your homepage. It's going to count as 1 page. Then they're going to an About Us, or perhaps in the case of bed and breakfast, they're going to look at the accommodations. They're going to look at your rooms. And then a third one, maybe they're going to your contact page. Maybe they're going to a gallery page. testimonials, anything like that. And then finally, if you're going to go to another page, you want them to land on either the Contact Us page, or at least, if you're making sure that a call to action is on every page, that they're clicking through on that. Now here's a bit more of another example of it. Sorry, like I said, I know the analytics can be a little dry, but this one right here was from the same company as before. So you're going to see here, their number one referral was organic search. Now this is people who have searched on their product and have found them at or near the top of the search engines, and it's bringing them through. Statistically, you're going to see about 80% of business coming through search. That's what we've noticed, and what's how we found through other sources as well. Secondary, referral. Very important. Again, for resorts in Ontario, you're going to get some directory referrals, like from Ontario Resorts, or even FOBBA itself. On the website, we'll have different links to different bed and breakfasts. These are backlinks that are going to give you those referrals and are very important to make sure that you have on your site. Here, this company, they're getting a lot of traffic as well through paid search. Now, this was talked a bit about before through paid search with AdWords, things like that. With it, it can be a little bit more expensive and your cost per click, but you're going to get highly targeted leads, and it is very useful to have. Direct is just when people are straight up punching in your URL and going straight to your website without going through another directory or through search. And then social media. We do actually, funny enough, we do see social media actually showing up a lot at the bottom. And it was actually, Sean Billing was talking about it at the Resorts Ontario conference, just in regards to social media and the real importance of it. And we've always stressed that when it comes to social media, it's very important to keep it all in context. It's really the salt on the steak. You want to make sure that the website is delivering a positive, good approach to building those leads through the traffic. But the social media, it's not so much about bringing people to your website. It's about sharing the experience. When people are at your bed and breakfast, you want to make sure that they're sharing it and that other people are seeing it through that. And then they're either going to, perhaps there will be a link in there that will lead them to your website, but more often than not, they'll actually just search for it themselves after seeing it. All right, and so this is where it gets a little tricky when it comes to the actual optimization of a website. So it's a very important thing now with the metadata. What I'm mostly talking about are things called meta tags. Now, the meta tags are an important part of search algorithms. They used to be far more important. Some of it's become a little bit obsolete now, but there's still something to make sure that we talk about. Meta tags include a website title, includes a description, and includes keywords. Now, keywords used to be very important for search engine optimization. It used to be what gave the search engines a really good grasp of what your website was about. But due to spamming and things like that, they actually don't use them at all anymore. There are a few smaller tier search engines that do, but for the big three, it's Google, Bing, and Yahoo, they don't use them anymore. The meta tag description is what you'll often see when you're on the search result page. You'll always see the page title, you'll see the URL, and then there'll be a 160-character blurb about the website. And that's the meta tag description. Now, it's only used now within the search engine results page. They don't actually use it in an algorithm anymore. The most important one is the meta tag title. And what we see most often is people will just have, on the home page, it'll just read home. Or sometimes you might get the brand in there, but oftentimes it's not what we call optimized. It's probably the most heaviest weighted content on the page in regards to the search engine algorithm. And so you want to make sure that you're using keywords within it. Now, that can be Ontario Bed and Breakfast. It could be a Stratford Bed and Breakfast or St. Jacobs, anything like that. But you want to make sure that you do have keywords within that title tag. Now, in addition to the meta tags, you also have on-page headers or on-site headers. And what these are actually page titles that you will see within your website. What could be an example is right here on our website where you see exceptional website design and award-winning SEO services. If we put a tag on that in the coding behind the scenes that says H1, that would be what they then call an H1 header tag. Now, these header tags are important for search engine optimization because search engines use them as they read through the website. they're reading through all of your content. They're reading through all of your links. And so there are these markups that actually help them when they're reading through to let them know what content is more important, what content's not as important. And so those header tags are one of the things that are more important. Now, we also always suggest that use text-based links to your subpages from your home page. Now, whether this is as you're reading through, if you're saying, we have so many rooms available, and then you make sure you link that text to the available rooms page. And it's an accommodations or a rates page, anything like that. You want to make sure that people can access it on your home page, not just through the menu, but also as they're reading through the text. Again, very important, as we've said before, content is king on the website. Not only in the meta tags, not only on the on-site headers, but just throughout the text itself. You want to make sure that you're adding in some keywords. We want to make sure that it's not sounding robotic or anything like that. There's always a balance between something that's easily readable, but still has good keyword density. That's going to make sure that the search engines, as they're reading through your website, they're getting a good theme of what your website's about, and they're getting an idea of what keywords to rank you high on. Last but not least, what we suggest for on-site best practices is to sync up all your Google services using webmaster tools. So what you can do with this is make sure that whether you have Google Analytics, webmaster tools, a Google local business page, all of that, you want to make sure that they're all under one single account and that you have linked it up to your website through Google Webmaster Tools. It's a fairly straightforward process, but if you do have problems, I can get you my number. Now, one other thing that was talked about earlier in one of the previous presentations was local search. And I made mention of it when I was talking about if you're a bed and breakfast in St. Jacobs, you want to make sure that when people are typing in St. Jacobs bed and breakfast, you're one of the ones that are pulling forward. Now, you will notice in the search engines, I'm sure most of you have, that when you do type in searches like this, you get the regular standard search results. But there's always going to be, whether it's 3 or 7, there's always going to be a set few. Sometimes you'll have an actual letter with them. It'll go run through A, B, C, D, E. And it'll actually be just specific websites for the bed and breakfasts in the area. It'll have their URL, it'll have their number, and it'll always have a map location associated with it. This comes from local search and Google Places for Business. It's very important to be on now, especially with the advent of mobile technology. Everybody's on their cell phone. A lot of people, I myself am guilty of it. I'll go somewhere needing accommodations, not having pre-booked any. I'll get there and I'll just pull up my cell phone and look up the closest accommodation fee. And it's always based off of those map results. It's usually in the top 3 is the one that'll get my accommodation. Now with this right here, to make sure that you are placing highly within those map results, we strongly suggest that you use Google Publisher on your website. It's another way to link up your website with the Google Plus business page. You're verifying your website within the Google Webmasters tool, and you also use structured data on your website. Now, structured data is another one of those meta tags. It's relatively new. It can be referred to as schema or linked data. And it's coding, it's marked up coding that's on the back end of the website that people don't see, but it's there for the search engines to read. And again, something that's very important is to make sure that all the information on your website matches the information that's on your local business page. I was absolutely floored by the accuracy of Google's algorithm when we had one client that we were having a really hard time getting their local business page to show up. We tried everything, and now luckily with what we do, we've got Google on speed dial. So we called them up, and he was going through everything, and he noticed that just within the text of the website, he had the hours listed, just operations hours. And they didn't match what was on the local business page. And it was because just that information, it wasn't even any specific markup on the text. It was just simple text on the page. It didn't match the Google business page, and therefore they weren't showing the listing. And so that one, we were very surprised by that. And so once we made that correction, sure enough, the website was showing up. So it's very important to make sure that all the information across all platforms is the same for you. Because believe it or not, Google is reading everything, and everything they can associate with your business, they will. So that's a very important one. Now, with the move to responsive, that was actually back, we talked about a lot at Resorts of Ontario conference. So it was back in April, I think it was April 20th or 22nd. They updated their mobile search algorithm. And so with that, you'll now see it if you do a mobile search on Google. All the results will actually have a mobile-friendly tag with them if they are mobile-friendly. And so in their algorithm, it's not that they don't show up results that aren't mobile-friendly, but it's that they have a tag for every page that is mobile-friendly, and they are ranking them higher. They were actually, a little bit after that, they were beta testing a big red slow icon that they were going to put on there, so that way people would know when they're looking at a website, it was going to eat through their mobile data when they went to it. Yeah, it was only in beta testing. It didn't actually come out. It could still come out at a later date, but we are keeping an eye on that one. But yeah, so they did update their algorithm just for mobile devices to make sure that they are ranking higher for mobile-friendly websites. Here I was just talking about the on-site SEO factors, but when you get into the off-site, one of the biggest ones is backlinks, as you were saying. Now a backlink is any other website that actually has a link that points towards your site. Now I'm not sure how many people here are members of like Resorts of Ontario, but if you're a sponsored member there, they will have a link on their website that points towards your site and drives the traffic. That is exactly what I'm talking about when I say a backlink. Now, with backlinks, if your website, though, has a link back to that website, it completely cancels out any relevance in regards to search engine optimization. In the early days of search engine optimization, what a lot of companies were doing was called link farming or link pods. So all this would be was you give me a link, I'll give you a link. Right. And so they would do that, and this just built up a lot of low-quality links for a lot of websites. It would build up links very fast, but because they had zero relevance to the website content, Google made the decision to cancel that out. You will notice with search results now that you do see a lot of subpages coming up as well as the homepage. So it can give strength to that. Now, if you have on all of your websites what's called a canonical link, that will actually tell Google that this link should be added to this website. This is the main homepage for it.
Steven,
no problem.